Hi guys and welcome to my channel. My name is Beth and I am the Bookworm Tray. Okay, so this is my TBR. This is Sims Picks my TBR for March. I just realised I have not bought my book to tell you how I did last month, nor have I bought my bullet journal, which has the books that I read last month. Can I remember? No. So I will insert a clip of me telling you how I did last month in here. So the first book on my TBR for February was Addie LaRue, and this was for the trait Dog Lover, in which my cat picks my book and I pick the book that she doesn't pick because she's a cat and cats and dogs hate each other. I am not sure what my rating for this book is going to be. At the minute it's between 2 and 3 stars. I did not like it. It did not live up to the hype for me. If you want to know more of my thoughts, I will talk about it in depth in my wrap up. My second prompt was to read a book with a creative concept or an unusual concept, and that was for the creative trait. I picked Mrs. Death, Mrs. Death. However, I did DNF this book because it is a lot more hard-hitting than I was expecting. There are triggers for loss of a parent in here, which I personally am not affected by, but boy, I was crying. And February just wasn't the month for me to be dealing with hard-hitting books. So it's DNF'd for now. It will be read eventually. My final trait was Loves the Outdoors, and for this I had to read a book with elemental magic, and I picked Air Awakened. I gave this book 3 stars, it just got 3 stars. It wasn't good. It's not a good book. Let's be honest, it wasn't a good book. It had a really strange and stupid plot line. The characters were incredibly annoying and unlikable, but will I continue with the series? Probably. We love a trashy book on this channel. What can I say? My aspiration was Mansion Baron, and this was to read a book with a house on the cover, and for this I read House in the Cerulean Sea, and I fell in love and I had my heart broken and I cried and I laughed and I smiled and all of the emotions happened, and I think this is probably my favourite book of all time. Sorry, Stranger Dreamer. My second favourite book of all time. Laszlo still wins. But this book was just so beautiful. It was like an instant favourite. Like the first page I was like, oh my god, this is perfect. Great choice, Beth, well done. And then finally for my bonus trait I had Business Savvy, and this was to read a book to movie adaptation, and for this I read The Duke and I, and that was a mistake because this book was also awful, and I gave this book 2 stars. Do not read, it's bad. It's really bad. So as you saw, I did pretty good with my TBR for February, and overall I'm doing pretty good with my TBR, so I am feeling good about myself. Okay, I know I've just moved as well. I'm really struggling to cope with filming because I look hideous and I look slightly better close up because you can see some definition on my face. So let's hope the camera quality is shit on this video. So if this is your first time watching Sims Picks my TBR, how this works is I have assigned reading prompts to every single trait, aspiration and bonus trait in The Sims 4. I use a random trait generator to pick those prompts for me, and based on that I pick my TBR. If you're interested in seeing my prompts or the trait generator that I use, that is all linked in the description down below. The very last thing that I want to cover before I get into my TBR for this month is there is a theme. It's a theme that I just really wanted to do, and it so happened that Sims worked in my favour this month and it was possible. I'm not going to tell you what that theme is until the end of the video, but please let me know in the comments if you guess it before. Because if you've been here a while, if you watch my videos, you may catch on to what this theme is before I announce it. So let me know. Okay, so the prompts. So the traits that I got for this month were Clumsy, and this is to read my lowest rated book. Perfectionist, and this is a 5-star prediction. Foodie, this is Beth Picks. I am a foodie, so I get to pick whatever I want. My aspiration was Beach Life, and this is a relaxing read. And finally, my bonus trait was Home Turf, and this is to read a book set in the UK. So, books. I just realised I can't actually explain me picking the books for these traits without giving my theme away, because otherwise it won't make any sense why I've picked these books. So I am going to give the theme away. And for the month of March, I am planning on rereading all of my favourite books, and I'm so excited for this. If you watch my videos, if you follow me on Instagram, then you know that I've been thinking about some of my favourite books a lot recently, and I'm excited to be going back to all of them. Not all of them, but a lot of them. So the first prompt is to read my lowest rated book. For this, I am going to reread the lowest rated out of all of the books I've read that I still own. So if I read a book and I don't like it, I typically do unhaul it. I would rather that book go to another home where it can be appreciated. If I enjoy the book, if I love the book, if I want to reread the book, I keep it. So it was the lowest rated book that I still own. And so the book that came up for this was Bunny. I will insert a little clip just here, a little screenshot, a little photo just here to show you that Bunny is pretty low rated on Goodreads. It's like 3.5 stars, I think. And I actually gave this book 5 stars because I absolutely loved it. The first time I read Bunny, I was like, what the fuck? It made zero sense to me. So I'm really, really excited to go back into this book and see if this time around I actually understand the story. Either way, I think it's going to be a good time. So I'm not exactly sure what genre Bunny is. I would say it's probably horror, technically. But it's about a girl called Samantha who's part of an MFA writing program. She is at this very prestigious university, but she doesn't really feel like she fits in. The rest of the girls on her course are very cliquey, they're very affluent, and she is a bit of an outsider. Now, these girls all call each other bunnies, and one day Samantha gets invited to join them for something called a smut salon. This is where they get together, they write and they read their writings to each other. And Samantha ends up getting pulled into the weird and crazy world of the bunnies. Now, if that doesn't really make any sense, I'm sorry, the book itself does not make any sense. So all I can say is that I absolutely loved this book the first time around, and I really hope I love it again. So the next trait that I got for March was perfectionist, and this is a 5-star prediction. Usually for this, I would just read one of the books that I predicted 5 stars from my 5-star prediction video, or if I've run out of that, just pick something from my wish list. But for this, I am going to be going back and rereading a book that I previously rated 5 stars that I think is going to hold up. Because not everything I've read is still going to be a 5-star. Like, I'm pretty sure I gave Twilight 5 stars the first time I read it, and I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be 5 stars now. But the book that I have picked will come as no surprise to anybody who knows me. It is Strange the Dreamer. It is my favourite series. I have reread this series maybe 3 times already. So I'm really excited to be going back into this. Do I think that this book will be any less than 4 stars this time? 4 stars? 4 stars? Do I think this book will be any less than 5 stars this time around? Absolutely not. This book is obviously going to hold up because I just love it. If you have seen my bookshelves as well, you will know that I actually own the UK hardback versions of these, which are stunning, but I do plan on annotating this, so I did get the paperback for this time around. I've actually previously read this on ebook and also listened to the audiobook. So for anybody who doesn't know what this book series is about, I don't know how you wouldn't know because like it's very hyped. But Strange the Dreamer is about a guy called Laszlo Strange who is an orphan who works in a library. Laszlo has an obsession with this mystical, magical, mythical place called Weep. Weep is considered by most people to be a legend. They don't think it is real. But then one day a delegation from Weep turn up in Laszlo's city asking for help, and Laszlo ends up joining them on what turns out to be one of the most magical and beautiful adventure stories of our time. If you haven't read Strange the Dreamer yet, I literally do not know what you're doing with your life. You have failed. You have failed at life. I'm sorry, if you haven't read this book and you consider yourself to be a reader, I am revoking your reading card. Read it and then you can have it back. Sorry if the camera angle has changed. I just took a quick lunch break. Not because I've been filming for so long, but because my husband just made lunch, so I ate it. So the next trait was foodie, and this is Beth Picks. I am a huge foodie. I love cooking. I love cooking fancy meals. That's what I'm really into at the moment. But yeah, I'm a foodie, so I just say that this is my pick. So I could pick whatever book I wanted, and I decided to go with a reread. Of course I decided to go with a reread. This is all rereads. But I decided to go with a reread that I really should have done a very long time ago, and I didn't because I'm extremely disorganized, but I'm doing this reread with my best friend, and that is A Court of Thorns and Roses, which I match. This will be my second time reading this book. The first time I read it, I think I listened to the audiobook, and it will be my best friend's first time reading this book. I really should have got my act together and reread this before A Court of Silver Flames came out, but I couldn't decide if I wanted to reread it or not, and then I decided like the day that I got the book. So yeah, I am a mess. And also, like, I don't know if it's just me, but I actually love the new covers that they have on these books. I think they're really nice. I think they're kind of weird. Like, this looks like it should be some kind of Asian inspired fantasy, but it is not. I don't feel like I really need to explain what A Court of Thorns and Roses is, because I am pretty sure you know. If for some reason you don't, this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and that's as much as I'm going to give you, because if you don't know, that's on you. You need to go and find out. But yeah, this is going to be my second reread of this book. I'm not sure how this is going to hold up. I'm not sure if I'm still going to love it, but I loved A Crescent City, so I do think I will like A Court of Silver Flames even if I don't like this one. But yeah, we're gonna reread it. I'm excited to finally own the physical books, and it's gonna be fun. Oh, floppy. So my aspiration for, what month are we in? March. My aspiration for March is beach life, and for this I have to pick a relaxing read. So for me, a relaxing read is something that is a little bit trashy, something that doesn't take a great deal of concentration, something that is super fast paced and just really enjoyable. So the genre that I always go to when I just want something easy is contemporary romance. And my favourite contemporary romance writer of all time is Penelope Douglas. The first book of hers that I ever read was Punk 57, and it's always a bit of a toss-up between that and Birthday Girl as to which one is my favourite. But for this month's TBR, I am going to go with Punk 57, and the reason being that Punk 57 was the first one that I read. I listened to it on audiobook, so I think reading it physically is going to be a new experience, because romance isn't something that I usually want to reread. So Punk 57 is a bully romance, I think. Don't know all the romance lingo. In Punk 57, we are following Misha and Ryan, who are pen pals. They've been pen pals for many years and had made an agreement that they would not exchange numbers, exchange social media, or photograph. One day, Misha sees Ryan and absolutely hates her. He then goes no contact with her, and Ryan is left not knowing where he is, what's going on, what's happened to him, if he is even still alive. A little bit later on from this, a new guy starts at Ryan's school, and him and Ryan immediately hate each other. Now, I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm pretty sure you can work out who the new guy is. This was actually one of the first adult romances I read, and it started me on a journey where I read nothing but like new adult smutty romance for about 6 months of my life, and it was intense. So I am hoping that this doesn't just derail me, but I'm really looking forward to rereading this. I think I am really going to enjoy it again. And finally, we're moving on to my bonus tray, and this is to read a book set in the UK for the bonus tray, Home Turf. But for this, I've picked Black Flamingo by Dean Atter. So Black Flamingo is inspired by the author's life, and it follows a guy called Michael as he struggles to reconcile himself with his identity. Michael is gay and he is also mixed race, and it looks about how he finds a sense of identity and belonging in his environment and also within himself. Being mixed race myself, I really connected with this book, and there were a lot of things that really just got me. They got me in the field. So I really wanted to go back and annotate this so that I could kind of have a record of how I felt and how those words made me feel in that moment. As I said, this is written in prose, and I read this in one sitting the first time I read it. So I imagine I will get through it pretty quickly the second time round as well. So those are all of the books that Sims picked for me in the month of March. And just to recap, I have Bunny, and this is for Clumsy, my lowest rated book. I have Strange the Dreamer for Perfectionist, which is a 5-star prediction. And also, this book is perfection. I have A Court of Thorns and Roses for Foodie, Beth's pick. For Beach Life, a relaxing read, I'm going to be reading Punk 57. And finally, for my bonus trait, Home Turf, I'll be reading Black Flamingo, which is set in the UK. So those are my Sims picks for my Sims Picks My TBR. I'm also taking part in Buzzwordathon, in which you read, well, as many books as you want a month, all containing one word or a type of word or whatever. For this month, it is time. And so I'm tentatively picking Seconds. This is a graphic novel. The first time I read this, I really didn't like it, and I don't know why, because I think about the story quite a lot. So it obviously stuck with me, but yeah, I just don't really remember liking it that much. So I thought it would be good to give this a second chance because it is a really beautiful graphic novel. Like, let me show you this book. This is what it looks like naked. It's really pretty. And like, I think the art is really cool as well. It's really cartoony. And usually for me, if I like the art style, I am very forgiving of the book. So I'm not sure what it was about Seconds that didn't really resonate with me the first time, but I've read a lot more graphic novels since I read this, and so I think I could like it a lot more the second time around. Editing Beth here. So I just realised I didn't actually tell you guys what this book is about. So this graphic novel is about a girl called Katie. This is Katie. And Katie is a chef who is about to open her first restaurant. Katie makes a little mistake and things start going wrong. Katie meets a girl who gives her a magical mushroom that allows her to fix one mistake. She's only supposed to take one mushroom and fix one mistake, but Katie begins to do this more and more and things start going wrong. I'll also be taking part in Becca's Bookopoly-thon. We're not able to set a TBR for this readathon. Obviously, if you're interested, go to her channel and look at her explanation of the readathon. I'm not going to go through it. But we can't set ourselves a TBR. We do have the first prompts, however, which are to read a book with a black cover or a dark cover and to read a fantasy book. So you could either read 2 or 1, or so you could either read a book fulfilling both the prompts, you could read a book for each prompt, or you can read a book that fills one of the prompts, however you want to do it. I'm going to try and combine the prompts as much as possible. I don't know how many books I'll read for it, but we'll just see how it goes. But I have picked my first book, and it is Piranesi, and I love this book so much. I'm so excited to reread this. I gave this book 5 stars. This was my second favourite book of 2020. Only knocked off the top spot at the very last moment by Crescent City. The first time I read this, it was just so atmospheric and strange, and I was just so like, whoa, and I read it so quickly, and I really just want to go back and kind of take my time with it. But then I just said I'm going to read it for a 48-hour readathon, so I will not be taking my time with it. Maybe I'll start it before and like just read the last chapter for the readathon, although that feels like cheating, so I'm probably not going to do that. But yeah, I am really excited to reread this book because I gave it 5 stars first time. Will I give it 5 stars the second time? I am pretty sure I will. And also, let's just take a moment to appreciate how beautiful this book is. Oh, so stunning, so stunning, so stunning. Love. So it turns out I also forgot to tell you what Piranesi is about. I guess I was just getting a bit excited at this point in the video. It does mean you get a close-up of what is, in my opinion, one of the most stunning books I own. Piranesi is actually quite a difficult book to explain. It's very short and it's very atmospheric. But Piranesi lives in a world that is essentially just a gigantic house, and there is only one other living person in this house who he calls the Other. Once a week, Piranesi and the Other meet so that they can discuss how to find this great magical knowledge. Piranesi starts to find some messages and some notebooks and begins to find that there is more to his life than he first thought. I know that's a kind of vague explanation, but this book is very hard to describe. All I can really say is it is beautiful, intriguing, and I was totally absorbed by this world. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the video. If you are still here, thank you so much for watching. Please leave me your favourite love heart emoji in the comments down below to let me know you were here, or let me know if you've read any of these books or if you've got any recommendations for me as well. If you like this video, then please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more from me in the future. And hopefully you'll come back and see me in another video soon. Bye!